start all over.
Oh my.
Now you are live. Now it's reading.
Good evening, everyone. Oh my goodness. Something funny happened, but it's okay. I'm going to start all over again. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. If you're seeing this, please repost, share, invite your friends. I have here tonight our value mama, Dr. Amaka Ifeduba, who is also one of my mentors, and she's going to be sharing with us something on the subject matter of mentorship. So I'm really happy that she's here. I feel really privileged that she's on my space because if you know that Dr. Maka, she's one of the top voices on LinkedIn, and I'm really glad that I have her here. So thank you for joining me tonight. I would like to begin with a short prayer, which is something I like to do anytime I have my monthly event. This is also one of our monthly events for MJ's Guide to Student Success. It is just a community of students who come together to share academic tips, motivation. We just help one another when it comes to our academics. So I'm going to pray now and then we can start officially. Dear Lord, thank you once again for bringing us together. We are grateful because we know that you're with us and then you help us to not go back the same way we came. You will speak through Dr. Makar and you will let that be a seed that will be planted into our hearts and you help us to grow in all our endeavors. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you once again, Valumama, for joining. Please, if you're joining us, you can drop a comment, let us know where you're joining us from, and we can also just show that. I'm going to just go straight without further ado by introducing Dr. Amaka. We all know who she is, but I want to just tell a backstory, a quick one about how I met her and how she has really inspired me. And when I said she's one of my mentors, it's really the truth actually. I met her through my brother, who also, is someone that brought me to LinkedIn, which is a story for another day. Oh, thank you. To Louis saying, also, my beautiful people, thank you so much for supporting us. Thank you. Uh, so, as I was saying, I met her and she just kept my brother just kept saying, "Oh, there's this person on LinkedIn, Dr. Maka." And I'm like, "Who is this Dr. Maka you're always mentioning? Who is she? Like, what is this? I want to know." I'm okay. And then he said, "Okay, don't worry." In fact, he even paid for my first um my first program to join Scholar Up, which was how I met Dr. Maka. And after meeting Dr. Maka, I'm not just going to be sincere. At first, I was really skeptical about, is it a cult? I'm really kind of always like, what do you do that you make everyone just start mentioning your name? But I can now tell you categorically that this is not a paid ad or anything, but Scholar Up Mentorship Academy really changed my life. It really changed my personal branding in terms of LinkedIn. I got more than I paid for. And like I tell everyone, before I used to be someone who cared about, oh, what will people say? I don't want people to think I'm too proud. I'm trying to be too careful. But I met Dr. Maka and she made me realize that you don't have to shrink for anyone to be happy. You just do yourself, be your thing, do your thing. People will not know until you speak up. Don't let them, and I'm really grateful for that because you're also because I got on this journey of personal branding, I can say that I owe my growth to God and also to you who has actually inspired me. And every day, even though I don't maybe say it or I don't, you're someone that I look up to.
Aw.
And I'm grateful for your journey, your story you've been through that's pushed you to become a better version of yourself. You don't let life stop you. And I don't know how you do it, how you manage to do it, or honestly speaking. So it's a motivation for me. Sometimes you don't even have to directly mentor somebody. A mentor is someone who you look up to and then you want to be like them. I tell myself sometimes, oh, if you can do it, then I can too. I know PhD is hard, but you did it, you survived it. So definitely I can do it. And that keeps me going at some point. So I really want you to know that you are a great person and I really appreciate all you're doing. And guys, if you're watching, I recommend you to join Scholar Up Academy. I cannot even say this enough. It's a life-changing academy, especially when it comes to your personal branding, time management, your writing skills, your confidence. I can tell you that you're going to get more than you paid for. So I can see people already. Thank you for joining us. Good evening. I can see Abiba, Emeka. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Emmy. Thank you guys for joining us. I'm grateful for the support. Thank you. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna read a short bio of our guest tonight, our guest of honor, who is Dr. Amaka, just like I mentioned. And what I've said before, I'm just about to read now. What I'm about to read now is even something that speaks for itself. You have results, you have testimonials to show for these things. And she's Dr. Amaka Ifeduba. She's a certified life coach and founder of Scholar Up Mentoring Academy. She's passionate about human capital development. She helps professionals build their LinkedIn brand for global opportunities and guides aspiring graduates through the US grad school application. She has trained over 500 professionals, and I'm really proud to be one of those professionals. Actually, yes, I'm a I'm a proud student of Scholar of Mentorship Academy, and I must really say that she's doing a great job with the academy. And she has not just trained 500 professionals, she has trained them in over 15 countries. Can you imagine that? 15 countries. So please let's give it up for our value mama as she comes to the stage to, just give us value like she does, just like her name implies. So you have the stage. Thank you for
MJ,
joining us.
with someone like you who needs a hype man, I don't need hype man again now. That's like no need for a hype man. I don't even need. Oh wow, thank you so much. I'm so honored to share your stage. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really proud of you, right? It's because of people like you that Scholar Up Academy can continue to make progress. Because I can brag on you, I can say, go look at MJ, go look at that person. So I don't need to talk too much. So thank you for taking the lessons and running with it. Because it's not about learning if you refuse to implement, no matter how much your coach wants to invest in you or your mentor wants to invest in you, unless you have the willingness to really deploy everything that you've learned, it would have been an exercise in futility. So this is such a wonderful topic that you've called me to speak on, because I guess I'm always talking about mentoring, right? If I'm not talking about mentoring someone, I'm talking about my own mentors. It's always been like it's a big part of my message. So discussing this topic is indeed really like a topic that is so close to my heart, because a lot of the things I do today is born out of personal experience, right? Which is I always like to share with people from my experience. I won't tell you what I read about or what I learned about. I'll tell you what I've lived, because I feel like stories stick, right? Anybody can go to ChatGPT to ask the meaning of mentoring, and ChatGPT will give you good definition of what mentoring means or the impact of mentoring. But what ChatGPT will not tell you is give you his transformational stories of how mentorship or how mentoring transformed somebody's life, and they literally become a whole new different person altogether. Like you start up as one person and suddenly you are looking back and it's like, I'm a whole new person. I've just been reborn, even though I was already old. So it's a topic that is very dear to my heart, and I'm honored to be here to just share my 2 cents on the topic. And like I said, I'm going to just share stories with you. I would not I will not try to be cute about it, right? Or try to give you abstracts. Now,
I have my
men-
notes ready to take notes.
okay, let's jump right in, right? Let's jump right in. When we talk about mentoring, like I said, I'll share a personal story, right? Some of you who follow me on LinkedIn, you know quite a bit about my story because I've shared bits and pieces, so you'll be able to connect the whole story. The beauty of personal branding is that you get to share your stories along the way, and then people get to really know you, which makes it so important because you're trying to build a tribe that know you, that value what you value, that really resonates with your values and your message. So for me, I grew up in Nigeria, right? I'm Nigerian, so my name gives me away. My beautiful accent gives me away. I've held on to my Nigerian accent with all my might. I refuse to Americanize it, but that's by the way. So I grew up in Nigeria, and growing up in Nigeria, I was from a very low income family. That's something I don't talk about it a lot, but that's the reality. I came from a very low income family, and survival was just a matter of survival of the fittest. You just survive as it goes. It's just small time, hand to mouth type of thing. You just My father had a small business which I was a part of for the most part of right from when I was 10 to when I was around 20 or so. So that was this childhood I had, and because of the scarcity, the schools I attended were low income schools. So I always tell people, I say, if something happens now and they say, go back to your alma mater to go and collect something, thank God I've collected my certificates. I wouldn't have been able to do it again because all the schools I attended have closed down, apart from university. So the primary school I attended no longer exists. The secondary school I attended no longer exists. So that should tell you, and I'm not that old, right? It's not like I'm in my 60s or 70s. And for the schools I attended to no longer be in existence, that should tell you the quality of the school, right? So it was just a school where there was no pressure to do well, which I would say impacted me negatively. And even up till today, if I'm being very honest, there are still some of those foundational issues that come up sometimes because you did not learn the things you were supposed to learn when you were supposed to learn it. There was no pressure, there was no competition. You don't fail. Nobody fails. So you go to school, you come back. So my childhood was all about going to school, coming back from school, going to the shop, writing exams, moving on to the next class. Average. No drive to do better. Nothing was pushing you. And that was my life up until when I graduated from high school. And when I graduated from high school and started taking JAM, for those of us in Nigeria, that's the university entrance exam. So I started taking that exam. I took the first year all confident. Oh, yeah, sure enough, I should get enough score to get into the university. I was rejected. You all know the story already, right? Second year rejected, third year rejected, fourth year rejected, fifth year suddenly I was now trying to get serious as much as I can because, like I said, in Nigeria, if you had the right connection and low intelligence, it can get you really far. Unfortunately, right? Yeah, as long as your father was connected or your uncle was connected, if you were just somewhere on average, it can still get you into the university. But that was not my reality. My reality was that somehow, if I was going to get into the university, I was going to get in on merit. So I was struggling. I was struggling to pull myself along. And I kept increasing my jam score little by little. I went from like 200 to 220 to 240 something. Eventually, I think I got in at 259 after so many stages of, just struggling like that. And then I got into the university. I remember the day I went to print the way you go to the cyber cafe to go and print admission. Finally, it's like finally you've been admitted, and then you look at the sheet and you say plant science and technology. Honestly, I did not know what that was. Like, I did not know a course like that existed to begin with. So I'm looking at it. On one hand, I'm grateful that finally Amaka, the village girl, was going to the university. It's been 5 years of listening to tongue wagging. Whenever I'm in my father's shop, people will say, "This Igbo girl, you like money too much. Won't you go to school?" People make it look like it is you that is choosing not to go to school and not the situation that has kept it like that for you. So on one hand, of course, I'm grateful that I was finally going to get into the university. And then on the second hand, it's like plant science. What am I going to do with that? That question arose. The same naysayers, people came, it's like, are you sure you won't just leave this thing and try again next year? after 5 years. And are you going to become a native doctor? What are you going to do with it? And honestly, I did not know what I was going to do with it. But the only thing at that point was that I did not have the luxury of refusing, because you've 5 years unaccounted for. Finally, you have admission. I went into the university with that level of uncertainty, unhappiness. I was really prone, I was a person that was prone to a lot of negative self talk. That's where I'm coming from. And that is why most of the time I recognize it in the people I mentor. Like I could literally see myself when I go 10 years back and I can see myself in them. That's why I'm able to guide them, because I understand it. I understand that feeling of inadequacy, the feeling of I don't want to show myself. I need to hide myself. I need to be careful. I don't want to offend. I don't want to step on anybody's toe. That was definitely where I was coming from until I got into the university. I always say this is grace, because it's serendipity. How I met a mentor who has now become a mentor of over 14 years to me was just another chance factor. This, my mentor, is not even in plant sciences, not even in agriculture. He was a new lecturer at the university who was in chemistry. But in Nigeria, of course, when you are in 100 level in your first year, you get to take a whole lot of courses, right? You get to take a broad range of courses. So I was going to take basic chemistry, Chem 101. And as usual, again, with our funny system where you have to physically take your course forms to go and get it signed. Thank God for that system, right? Because if it's like in the US or a lot of advanced country where you just register online, I probably would not have met that mentor. It is still that system of taking your physical papers, going to the person's office, getting to meet them, and them appending their signature. And that's how I connected with him. I remember that day so vividly, that like that memory is so clear in my mind, because we're all queued up, more than 100 of us outside the office. People go in and out of the office in less than 1 minute, because you just go in, you show him the course form, you show him your school fees receipt, he signs his signature, and you're out. So people were going in and out, in and out, in and out. It got to my turn and I walked in, gave him my course form. He looked at it, he signs, he looks at me, says, "How are you?" I'm looking at him, "Yeah, I'm fine, like I'm okay." And then before you know, conversation started unfolding. I didn't even know where the conversation started from. He started asking questions. Oh, okay, what are you? How are you doing? How do you like this course? How is your semester going? That was my first semester in the university, so I was literally just starting. So how's the semester going? What are you hoping to graduate with? What are you excited about? And of course, me that was prone to negative self-talk, immediately I was already showing myself, this nonsense course that I'm doing, I don't even know what I'm going to make of it. And I was just being me. And I always say grace, MJ. I always say grace, because he did not have to care. He did not have to, he did not even have to talk to me, because so many other people had gone in before me. And I ended up holding up that line for more than 30 minutes. That we just sat down there talking from academics to God to so many things, just life journey. And I just felt comfortable with this new random person that I was just meeting to share all my life struggles with. I remember that was just like, it was 1 week to my birthday. And I said, "Oh, yeah, next week is my birthday." I said, "Okay, let's exchange numbers. I'm going to send you a birthday message." And that was how that mentoring relationship started. And the way that mentoring transformed my life, I always say that, the way you feel like God walks through people, because of course, God is not going to come down from heaven to directly do something. If He really wants to help you, then He sends the right people along your path. I know for sure that I would not be the person I am today if not for that encounter. Because now I met someone whom, after I received my first semester results, I was so proud. That was the best result I had gotten in my life. I had a lot of A's. I had a lot of A's. I think I had just like two B's or so. I was feeling myself, because all the while he kept me on my toes in terms of, are you reading? Are you doing your assignments? How are you going? How are your CAs? Somebody was, for the first time in my life, checking. Nobody had ever checked. Nobody had ever checked on me in terms of my academics, whether I was passing or failing had never been something of discussion. Suddenly, somebody was asking. And because somebody was asking, I can tell you for free that most of the time I read extra, not because I wanted to pass, but because I wanted to impress my mentor. That is where you begin to see the power of having a mentor you look up to. And it can be for good or bad. The same way people have the influence to change you into a better person is the same way somebody else can have the influence to turn you into it's that powerful. People literally become like gods in your life. Because now you are looking up, like you're suddenly looking up to them. He is now in his job. He was just starting his career. He had not even done his PhD then. He was wrapping up his master's. So he became like a beacon of hope for me. Like finally, okay, I'm coming from a poor background. There is no inheritance. There's nothing at home, right? There's nothing at home. So suddenly there is this vision in front of me. Work so hard. And that was when in my mind, all I wanted to be was to be a lecturer. I wanted to be like my mentor. So being a lecturer meant I had to work really hard. I had to do very well academically so I could get into lecturing on merit. The path was clear in my mind. I received those results, my first semester result. I took it to him. I was so excited. So if you see my shoulder, my shoulder pad was up in the moon because I was expecting pat in the back. And I showed it to him. I said, yeah, out of like the 10 courses I did, I had like 7 A's, bragging. Best for someone who was getting C's and D's to get that kind of result. For me, it was everything. He looked at it. He was like, yeah, not bad, not bad. It's not a bad result, but can you go back to the board and go and copy your scores? I want to see your actual scores, not just the grade. You know how it is with grade in Nigeria, where
Yeah.
70 is an A. So once you get 70, you got an A. I was like, what is wrong with this man? Is it that this man is a hater? Or like, which kind of bad belly is this one? You're not even, this is not the excitement I was expecting to see. Yeah, not bad, not bad. Go and copy your scores. I went back and I copied the actual scores, which I had not paid attention to. I was so fixated on the grade. Oh, my head wanted to blow. When I now went and I brought it back, I now realized that almost all my A's were less than 80. 71, 72, 73, 75 for the ones that were so wonderful. And then when he looked at the score, he's like, do you understand what this means? I'm looking at him like, oh, what does it mean? He said, if you get a 70, it means you are 30% wrong. That is what it means. It means that you've not understood the concept well enough. Yeah, the grading system might give you an A, but it means that you are still 30% deficient. Do you understand that is what it means? That changed everything. It changed everything for me. It became about pursuing excellence and no longer just metrics, no longer about getting. He was like, if you can get 95, if you can get 98, why get a 70? The whole idea should be learning. The focus should not just be on the grades that is on paper. If you focus on excellence, if you focus on learning, the grades will become the aftermath of it. I'm telling you, MJ, that was like a turning point in my life where I started seeing everything differently. That whatever it is I'm doing, all I have to focus on doing is putting in my very best. The result is just the aftermath. My attention should not be on the result. My attention should be on doing good work, doing the best work I can do. Once I have put in the best work I can do, getting those results is just the extra. I was like, oh, okay, challenge accepted. The next semester, it was no longer about getting A's. It was now about mastering the concept. It was about like improving, trying to all of those deficiencies where sometimes you are reading. There were times you are reading, you're like, okay, we have 10 what are they calling 10 topics. If I've read 8, I know that this 8 is enough to give me a good grade. No, if I don't understand 2, it's about how am I going to understand it? What can I do differently? So that was that shift that happened for me, that I started viewing things differently. And I continued in that line of just having somebody check in. By the time I got back my next semester result, it was me that was copying the grade by myself. By the
Yeah.
time before I wanted to go, and I was not even copying scores again. My scores started shifting. It was no longer in the 70s, it was in the 90s, a few on the 80s, few very close to 100, 97, 96. It's like, yeah, this is what you achieve because now you are learning. You are no longer just trying to get an A, you are learning, you are educating yourself, you are improving. And to tell you the truth, I went from a student who struggled to get accepted into the university, struggled, really, really struggled, 5 years, to graduating as overall best out of over 20,000. And that's because I had a mentor. There was like everything I learned. In fact, I will tell you, majority of the things I know today, is because someone taught me. Someone was kind enough. Someone was there to boost my confidence. Someone was there to challenge me. Someone was there to say, you can do it. Somebody was there to say, don't give up. In the moments when I was feeling down, when I felt like, oh, somebody was there to say, pick yourself back up and try again. It made all the difference. Like, it literally changed everything. And by the time I graduated from the university, that's why I still go back to Grace. Because funny enough, this mentor of mine was just in the university for the exact time when I was in the university. He came to the university as a new lecturer. I came in as a new student. As I was graduating with my bachelor's degree, he was leaving the country to come to the US for his PhD. So he was going ahead of me, literally. Like, he was there for the 4 years I was in the university, was the 4 years he was in the university. And then he left after I graduated. And then I stayed, of course. What was the dream? I want to be a lecturer. My mentor was a lecturer. And that was the dream I pursued. When I applied, that's why I said, like, I applied, I was waiting for them to do their thing. I started doing a master's. Even when he was telling me, don't you think you can come and do your PhD straight? I said, no, not when I've started this master's. Or the way this master's have suffered me, I have to finish. So I could have even left Nigeria ever since to probably, but for whatever stubborn determination, I wanted to be a lecturer because that vision had been placed in my mind. And I got in and I lectured for like 3 years until it now reached my point that, like, yes, you've done what your mentor did. It's now time for the next step. It still became his guide, it still became his direction that got me to this point. See how a life story could have turned out totally different?
Absolutely.
Totally different. So I don't know how else I'm going to tell you that mentoring is powerful than to share my story with you. I don't know what other words that I would use or whatever adjectives that I would use than to just tell you that this is my own lived experience. And most of the time when people ask me, how are you so passionate about personal development, mentoring, coaching, your background? I'm a scientist by training. I'm like, it is because it is my personal story. It's my passion. People tell me all the time, you are going to burn out. You've been doing cohorts for 11 months. Every day you are sending voice notes. Every day you are reading people's posts. I say, because it's second nature. I'm not struggling to do it. You are the one who is thinking it's hard. For me, I'm having fun because the satisfaction for me is when I see that shift happen for people the same way it happened for me. It's just a way of paying it forward. So I just see, like, I look at it, I'm like, oh, wow, see Verena. I remember where they started. Oh, see MJ, see this person. And I can point at them and I can say, somehow I played a small role in their journey. And suddenly they have the confidence to step into their potential and begin to do the best they can, the same way somebody did it for me. It makes all the difference in my life. And I can tell you for real, mentoring is transformational, especially when you find the right mentors. If you find a mentor whose heart is in it, you find the person who really wants to build you up, it can make all the difference. The kind of recommendation you get from your mentors, people who really know you, it's only your mentors that can write those kind of recommendation. The final thing I'm going to say is I remember when I applied for the US, one thing when I came, one thing that my advisor said to me, she said, one of the most compelling things about your application was the recommendation letter from your mentor. That was one of the, like, the amount of heart and the amount of passion in it was what moved things for me. I was like, oh, really? Wow. I was like, okay, thank you. Thank you for continuing to be that guiding light. And it's going on 15 years. And this person is still there as the first person I think about with a good news, with a bad news, with a disappointment, with whatever. Is the first person I'm thinking about. What do you think? This has happened. What do you think I should do with this? Just having that, it takes a lot of burden. And I always tell people, I said, you will never hear me say I'm self-made. That's one claim you never hear me say, that I'm self-made. I'm able to see so far because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. That's the only reason.
Oh,
We look at me, you think I'm doing so much. It's because I'm standing on people's shoulder. That's the only reason I can achieve the things I achieve. So I think I'm going to land it here. I think you said I had 25 minutes, and I think that's how long I've been going. I don't want to encroach on the time. So if people have questions, conversations, you can chat with the people and see what they're saying. And I hope you've enjoyed the gist. It's been fun.
honestly, thank you so much. That was really, really enlightening, interesting, beautiful. But your story is always inspiring as well. So I'm really grateful that you honored us with your presence tonight. Thank you so much. Guys, if you're still here, please drop your questions so that we can I can show them and we can answer them together. I'll just go quickly to the chat room and try to project some of the things that has been said. And I also have my personal questions for you based on some of the things you said. But before then, let me try to read. Uh, Tolu is saying, a mentor knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. She's a mentor indeed. Absolutely. Yes, she is. Emmy is saying, with over 993 community on WhatsApp. Don't play. Yeah, don't play. He also said, I love how MJ loves to write. Thank you. That's how you know I'm a student. Thank you. Bernard is here and he said persistence is very important. Yes, it is. Thank you so much for being here and for your support. Emeka is also here and he's saying, may God always lead us to that one person who will be invested in our journey to destiny. Amen. Yeah, this is very important actually. And okay, he also said he's taking notes, process over price. God sent a destiny helper ahead of you. True, true. I like we cannot downplay the God factor. This is so true. And God sent him to preserve lives. Yes. They're saying awesome. Uh Emeka is also saying, see the value I'm gaining for free. Oluwa share. That's the thing. That's the thing. Uh Rosemary, hi, welcome. She's saying, as a teenager, I'm so happy I'm here. Welcome. We're happy to have you here. We're glad you're learning. You can please drop any questions you may have. We're going to address them. Thank you. And now I have just my own, from our discussion, my first one is it that your mentor has to take interest in you first? I'm asking on a general, just like your own mentor did, or can you choose your own mentor?
That's a very insightful question, right? I always talk about one mentor because he's been there the longest. But honestly, I have countless mentors. Sometimes I feel like I have too much. I have too many, right? But it's a good thing because it gives me access, right? So it can be both ways. And sometimes your mentor takes an interest because they are led to, or because there's something you say that makes them feel like, oh, I can help this person, and they feel that pull within them that, like, okay, let's see if I can get working with this person. But ultimately, a lot of mentoring relationship is in the hands of the mentee, not the mentor. I give my mentor all the praise and all the accolades for being there. But honestly, if I was not a committed mentee, that relationship would not have worked and it would have not have stayed going on close to 15 years now. That's one important factor. Sometimes people feel like somebody owes you something. Nobody owes you anything, no. And everybody is fighting their own life challenges. So if someone is trying to mentor you or somebody has even that heart to do it, but you never report back, they tell you to do something, you don't give feedback. For example, the way he said, go and check your results and come back with it. And giving my mentor used to give me a lot of assignments, both the ones related to me, the ones not related to me. He will give me a book to read and summarize the book and all of those things. So if you, as the mentee, is not willing to give the time and the effort, that relationship is not going to go anywhere. Let me put that one out there. Before people will start saying you are lucky, luck has very little to do with it. For a mentoring relationship to work, the onus is on you, because it is you who is trying to tap into somebody's essence or tap into somebody's knowledge. So you would be the driver of that relationship. The mentee drives the relationship. You are the one to send follow-up emails. You are the one to kind of keep it going. Otherwise, the person will move on with their life. The fact that my mentor came to the US and was still mentoring me for almost the 4 years I was in Nigeria while he was here was because I kept in touch. Imagine him trying to get a PhD, get on with his life, and all of those things. is because I kept that relationship going. So the act of knowing how to network and knowing how to build relationship is very critical. Now you can approach mentors, but how you do the approaching, it matters a whole lot. And this is where I see a lot of young people get it wrong. Like, I cannot say, I've written lots of posts about it. I've talked about it a couple of times. I hope that people learn from just me sharing. Sometimes people bust into my DM and say, "Hello, Dr. Maka, I would like you to be my mentor." I'm like, come on, I don't even know who you are, right? So there has to be an approach that makes the person willing to do it. The thing that mentoring provides for you as the mentee is access. So how do you get somebody's attention? Especially in this age and time where you know that everybody is dealing with their own thing. Oh, forget the fact that everybody comes on LinkedIn, for example, packages their life, and everybody is an advisor, everybody is giving advice. In the real sense of things, people are dealing with their own life challenges, people are going through things. So for
Yes.
someone to really begin to invest in you, the question is why? You need to give them a reason to want to do it. You need to appear like a fertile ground. I always tell people, I say, you are looking for destiny helper. Make it easy for your destiny helper to want to help you. Nobody wants to invest in a failing project. People want to see you and then they invest in your potential. It's the same way how grad school decisions are made, that you're able to show that potential. So how do you even begin to get somebody's attention? That is where you need to wear your thinking cap to think, how can I get this person's attention? If it's in a social platform like LinkedIn, for example, and you are lucky you see somebody that you look up to and you feel like, oh wow, this person has something, this person I can really learn from this person. There are things about their life, their confidence, their discipline, the way they do their things. I know I can learn from them. And I want to have that access to them. I want to be able to send them a WhatsApp message and they will answer me. I want to have that type of access. You need to think, you need to wear your thinking cap. You cannot just jump into somebody's DM and say, be my mentor. Like, why? You need to now ask yourself, okay, if they make posts, can I be the first person to comment on their post every day? You want them to notice you. The goal is to attract, is not to chase. Oh, will I engage on their posts? If they have like a course, if they have like a training, should I go and join their cohort? I know so many people who have joined the LinkedIn Elevation program solely because they want to be close to me. And is that not a sweet spot? It is. It gives you access. It gives you the opportunity to have my phone number. Now you can come and invite me to come and do something like this. Otherwise, I cannot keep up with the invitation I get. So I have to sift through. There has to be that, is it even worth it? Okay, yeah, this is my mentee. I want to support them. Just like Zubeda was doing her first live yesterday, I felt like I need to be a part of this. I need to encourage her. I need to make sure she sees it through. I need to make sure she doesn't get intimidated by the technology. You see, that is invested interest. Oh, this is someone that I've mentored. This is someone I want to see succeed. There is an invested interest in it. So it is for you as someone who is wanting to be mentored to figure out a way you can have access to this your mentor. Don't expect that nobody owes you nothing. People are figuring out their life. So you need to get creative. I had someone who I was mentoring, and he was targeting someone, like there's someone else that he felt like, yes, this is someone that he needs to have access to. This guy traveled to a different state for conference that the person was going to be in, paid all the expenses. He wanted access. So how hungry are you for what you want? People think that your mentors owe you. So it's just like somebody is your mentor. So yeah, because of that, you should do this for me, do that for me. That's not what mentoring is. Mentoring relationship is a two-way street. There's nothing stopping you as the mentee to figure out a way you can do something for your mentor to make their life easier. I still remember when I was in the university, my mentor, he was in chemistry. So then, like students used to be so many. So he taught a lab. When I had advanced to like 200, 300 level, I was the one grading. Was it not my personal time? I would grade thousands of papers, like lab experiment that they were, because it was weekly labs. So you always had a lot of work. So in my own mind, how can I help this person? How can I make your life easy? Okay, you're investing your time, you're investing your wisdom, you're investing your resources to pour into me. What can I do as the mentee at least to make your life easier? There was a day I was around him in his office and I saw piles and piles. Like, sir, can I help you? He was like, ah, what do you know? Of course, okay, let's try it. Let's see if I grade it, if it's going to be okay. And I followed the marking scheme. When I did it, he was so relieved. Like, then I had taken up a lot of time from him, right? I've like, let me say, I've freed up time for him. And that became like a service that I was doing for him just to show appreciation. So that heart and that willingness to serve, that is why a lot of young people don't have mentors, because people do not have the willingness to serve. People do not have the willingness to volunteer. People feel like I should be paid for everything. And you don't understand that sometimes the access you have to someone is worth more than any amount of money you can think of. Just the fact that you have access to that person, just the fact that if you have a problem now and you call that person, the person will answer you, is worth more than any 20,000, 50,000 they will pay you. But people don't know that. You feel like anybody you see, oh yes, whatever little things. I'm not saying you should not get paid, but I'm just saying you should be strategic. Sometimes you need to weigh between the long-term benefits of having access to this person. What is going to be the long-term return on investment for them? For example, I give a typical example. The other day I wrote a post about Divine, right? Divine is one of my mentees. She was part of the first cohort. Watching how her journey went and how she transformed. Then she started volunteering with me. She does a lot of things behind the scenes and things like that. And I'm so impressed with the work that she does. And now I'm waiting for Divine for when she's ready to come to the United States for grad school. Do you think that I do not already feel it is my responsibility to make sure she gets here smoothly? Do you think she needs extra effort? Like, what am I going to pay? How am I going to do it? The service is already paid for. It's already a matter of when are you ready? Let's start working on it. That is the power of having mentors. It gives you access. It makes them feel invested in your growth. So even if you want to approach them, approach with sense. Find a way to really get that access. And a lot of times people are not willing to pay for access, and it keeps them stuck. Something that you'll probably be able to do in 1 month, it will take you 2 years to do. It will take you 3 years to do because you are not in the right circle. You are not around the people that will just tell you, why not try this? Why not try that? All you have to do is this. All you have to do is that. But you feel like, oh no, why should I have to pay anything? I have to figure it out by myself. I have had mentors approach me to say, I want to mentor you. But it's not because they just wanted to mentor me. It's because I had properly positioned myself as someone who was willing to learn. So it goes two ways. Going back to just wrap up the question you asked me, I know I kind of elaborated a bit more because it's such an important question. Just to narrow it down, a mentor can approach you based on aligned interests. You, as the mentee, can approach a mentor, but how you do it makes all the difference. Believe you me, maybe 9 times out of 10, if you randomly bump into someone or just jump into someone's DM and say, be my mentor, you probably not get an answer. I can guarantee it that you will not get a response. If you think that is the way to go about it, you probably not get any response from them. But if you are very strategic and you plan that relationship, you will see how it's going to unfold. So a mentoring relationship is something that unfolds organically. So you need to give that relationship time to blossom by really being present, by being willing to be the student. One thing my mentor always tell me, he used to tell me that because when he was telling me to come to the US, and all the time I'll be giving excuse, I'm doing masters, I'm trying to finish my masters. At the point he stopped talking about it. It was until when I was ready. I had to start begging him again to get his attention. It took a while for me to beg him to show that I'm now committed to the process. And one thing he always told me, which is something that I'm going to land with, is when the student is ready, the teacher appears. That's just the truth.
Wow.
But the student has to be ready for the teacher to be present and be able to impact in them. Thank you, MJ.
Very powerful. Thank you so much for the insightful session. Let's go back. I think we have questions now. I'm gonna check very quickly. Tolu saying, inspiring testimonial. God ordered your life and gave you what you needed at the right time. Yes. Mika is here again. He's saying the mentee should always keep true with the mentor. Yes. Attract, not chase. Yes, you have to. Oh, Uriel is here. Hi, Uriel. Welcome. Thank you for joining. He's saying this is such an inspiring session. Dr. Maka is always loaded with gems, and it's even more amazing because she's always willing to share. A quick question for me would be: is mentorship a lifetime thing for you or it's time bound?
That's a very important question. Yes, it depends. That's the answer, Uriel. And it's good to see you. It's been a while. I've missed you around the LinkedIn streets. Hopefully, you would come back and be more consistent. Yes, the answer to that question is it depends. Sometimes people are in your life for a season. That's it. They're in your life for a particular season and they become your guide for that season. And sometimes something may happen that separates that relationship that is beyond the both of you. I always lean more towards taking care of relationships because for me, it's a strong point. I like to touch bases. There are times I reach out to my mentors and truly I'm just giving them updates about my life. That's all. Because you are my mentor, you've touched me. Randomly, I can just send an email to say, "Oh, how you doing? How is everything? I just wanted to let you know. Oh, I just graduated. I started doing this." I'm just giving them updates. I'm just reminding them to remember me. I'm oiling that relationship. Maybe I don't need it then. Maybe I don't need it. Maybe I'll now need it in the next 5 years. So I keep that relationship alive, right? So sometimes mentoring, especially when it becomes people who are truly invested in you, it's like a lifetime thing. For example, I've had a mentor now, it's going on 15 years. But along the line, I've had mentors come and go. I still have several who I touch bases with every 6 months. I have others who I touch bases with every 3 months. Some is every 1 month. Now I have this particular mentor who I touch bases with every week. You see, it's different categories of relationship. And it's good to have that wide span. As a young person who is trying to advance your career, you want to have the right access. You want to have people who will say your name in rooms that you don't have access to. It is you that will help them. It is you that will make it possible for them to keep you top of mind. It is not their business to remember you. It's not anybody's business to be thinking about you. It is you that would intentionally make yourself top of mind. And what are some of the simple ways of doing it? It's just like what I mentioned. You connect with people, you meet with people in conferences, you meet with people online, you take people's classes, for example, I've had hundreds of people go through the cohort. Is it all the hundreds of people that have stayed super close to me? Not necessarily, right? It's not all of them. Some people have kind of moved on. Yeah, maybe once in a while I see their posts, but there are still some who have remained like in an inner, closer caucus to me, so to say. Some people have remained closer. Some people have better access. Some people talk to me more regularly. And that is just how life is. So when it comes to mentoring, you cannot force the relationship. It's something that has to be allowed to flow. But a lot of intentionality has to go in. And like I said, sometimes it is just a quick check-in. That is all that is needed. You don't need to talk to your mentor every day if you don't have anything to talk about. People are busy. But the essence of having that relationship is knowing what is the role of this mentorship in your life. Because mentoring has different roles. For example, for me, I will be the best guide for someone who is trying to do personal development, personal branding, grad school. That is the best advice that I can give you, right? For example, something else that another person might need, let me say you are a doctor, for example, and you are trying to figure out, like somebody asked that question yesterday, that's why I remember it from our event. You are trying to figure out, oh, should I go and do residency? Should I go and do this one? Would I be the best person to mentor that person? Maybe not. Maybe that person now needs somebody else who have walked that path. They need another medical doctor who have graduated, who probably decided whether to go to medical school, whether to go to do residency. So have mentors for specific reasons. You need different mentors for different areas of your life. You don't need just one mentor. You should have a mentor for your career advancement, somebody you are looking at who has walked the path that you've walked, who you are just kind of following behind so that they are showing you the way. You need a mentor for your mind. You need somebody who you can be completely vulnerable with. My mentor is more like my mindset coach. He's my therapist. He's my, when I go crazy, I'll go and cry. I can just be myself, right? So you also need that kind of person that can guide you through doing life. Just do life. How do you do life? You need that kind of person in your life. Then when it comes to your education, if you're still in school, you need a mentor who is along the journey. Some of us Most of us in Nigeria, when we look back, we know that we had no business going into the courses we are in today. You know, some of us, you can recognize that you had no business at all being in that course. If only you had the right guidance when you needed it, you probably should not have been in that course. That is why a lot of times you see people are dissatisfied, they are very unhappy. The people who are pushy enough, they find a way to pivot. They find a way to find somehow do those things that they enjoy doing, those things that is their best strength. And the reason for that is because when you needed someone to really sit with you and see how they can align your passion with your strength so that you can really start that course. Like, do you have any business being a medical doctor if you don't like blood? If you cannot stand hospital environment, you cannot stand wounds, do you have any business being a medical doctor? A lot of times people have told me that I should have gone to study law, I should have studied communications. Are they wrong? Probably not. But somehow it's taking a lot of strength and intentionality to find a way to still pivot and still do the things that I'm super, super passionate about. But not everyone has that opportunity. That is why when I see young people who have mentors, maybe from secondary school, I envy them, especially mentors that are truly, truly mentors that can really help guide them from that point. Some of us, we get mentors who start helping us to correct mistakes, mistakes that has already been made. Now they jump in and they are helping you. Okay, let's pivot it, let's manage it, let's get it going. So it's two ways, Urel. It can be for a lifetime, it can be for a moment, but always you as the mentee oil that relationship. Just oil that relationship. Don't wait until you don't talk to somebody for 1 year and suddenly something pops up. You now remember that is this person that can help me, and suddenly you are reaching out. That will make you feel like a user, right? So check in with people, check in with people. Let them know your career path, let them know what you're doing. That helps to keep that relationship alive, going forward, such that whenever you need their specific guidance, it's going to be very easy for them to say yes to you. So I hope that did some justice.
Wow, thank you so much. That it's been a very powerful one. I'm sure so many of us have gained value tonight. Thank you. Yeah, we don't just call you value mama for nothing. Don't play.
Please stop bragging. I will stop making my head big.
Thank you. So, uh, I'll check now if we have any more question or in that. If not, then we just say thank you. But before that, I am seeing here that Amika said access is not free. Oh. Yes, it's not free. Join Scholar of Mentorship Academy to get access to Dr. Maka. Etima Afia is saying, show the willingness to serve. Yes, this is very important. You have to serve. Here again, Emeka is saying, periodic touching base to give heads up about my whereabouts to my mentors without their asking is something I became more intentional about. After I heard from Visu that your mentor mustn't hear about you, good, bad, or ugly from a third party. True. This is very powerful. So you have to update your
Mhm.
mentor about whatever goes on. It also depends, just like you said, just like Dr. Maka said, what type of mentor mentee relationship do you have? Is it about your personal life? Is it about your academic? For example, I shared my testimony, was it 2 months ago, that I wanted to apply for uh a conference. I just had a proposal, a PhD proposal that was still a work in progress. And I was afraid because I felt like I'm not sure about it. And he said, what's the worst that could happen? You will just get rejected, but don't even disqualify yourself before.
Right. Mhm.
And I just submitted the proposal reluctantly, and I was surprised that it got selected. It was like a miracle. See, a mentor sees the best in you. They believe in you more than you believe in
More
yourself.
than you believe in yourself. True. Yeah.
I'm really grateful for different kinds of mentor because I cannot even imagine where I am now without my mentors. Like they still play a huge role. They are still here, they're still present. Whenever I'm having bad days, whenever I'm always willing to share everything with them. So mentorship is super, super important. Just don't forget, mentorship is not free most of the time. Yeah, there are some that just you're able to click just like Dr. Amaka and our own mentor. But if you can also be intentional, approach people, attract, position yourself, you can strategize. Some of the things she mentioned are really, really important. So I'm just gonna end that with this reminder tonight that a mentor can help you towards your success, just as also a mentor can also take you to the bad part. They can also help you level up and achieve success. So go for the good mentors like Dr. Amaka Ikeduba. Thank you so much once again for being here. I'm glad that you could, I know, take time out of your busy schedule to just give us this value tonight. Thank you so much. I'd like to end with a word of prayer and we can call it a night.
It's been a pleasure being here. Thank you for the invitation.
You're welcome. See, Jesus, thank you so much for this wonderful session that we've had. We're grateful because we know that you help us to become good mentees and mentors to people, to impact lives in wherever we find ourselves, to continue to grow, that at the end of it all, we achieve all of our heart desires, but most importantly, that we don't lose your kingdom, which is the plan that you have for us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Man, man, thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's been nice connecting. I wish you the best.
So
Have
have
a Sunday.
a
Bye,
wonderful
MJ.
day. Thank you. Bye, everyone.